And it's time for our second news video of the day as we take a look at Vince McMahon's reaction to the Big Show signing with AEW, and we have some news on talks between AEW and Batista. All that and more coming up in this video, but first, let's take a quick look at this week's AEW Dynamite card so far. There has been 4 things announced, and that includes a 6-woman tag match, which will see Britt Baker team with Maki Ito and Rebel to take on Hikaru Shida, Ryo Mizunami, and Thunder Rosa. Of course, Maki Ito debuted on the pre-show of last night's AEW Revolution pay-per-view, and she ended up replacing Rebel in a tag match which saw them get the victory over Thunder Rosa and Riho. Matt Jackson takes on Rey Fenix in a singles match, and this follows Rey Fenix and Pac's victory in the Casino Tag Royale at AEW Revolution. One member of each team will go head-to-head this week. The Inner Circle will hold their War Council, and this follows MJF and Chris Jericho's loss to the Young Bucks at the pay-per-view. And going by the post-match interview, it seems MJF may have his eye on removing Chris Jericho from the Inner Circle. So will his hostile takeover finally be complete this week? And the final match that we know of so far will see the AEW TNT Championship on the line as Darby Allin defends his belt against Scorpio Sky, who was the winner of the Face of the Revolution ladder match last night. So it looks like the card's coming together nicely, but there should be some more things announced. I'm expecting an appearance from Christian Cage, although this is yet to be confirmed. During last night's Revolution show, All Elite Wrestling announced their next pay-per-view, Double or Nothing 2021, which will go down in Jacksonville, Florida on May 30th, so in 12 weeks time from now. The event was originally scheduled to take place at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas for the 3rd time in a row, but it seems the plans have changed, with AEW having no intention of leaving Daily's Place in the near future. It has since been confirmed that anybody who has purchased tickets via credit card for the Las Vegas event will have refunds automatically issued, otherwise refunds will be available at their original point of purchase. So that's good to know if you have tickets for the event, and let me know whether you did have tickets for the Las Vegas show. Last night's major debut of Christian Cage seems to have been spoiled for the Spanish-speaking viewers of the show. During the Spanish version of the AEW Revolution stream, Ethan Page was hilariously referred to as Christian Cage, foreshadowing the debut that was planned for later in the night. Of course, Ethan Page debuted as the final entrant of the Face of the Revolution ladder match, which was in itself a surprise appearance, but one of the commentators got this confused with the other surprise appearance, with Christian Cage eventually debuting later on in the night. It looks like we may know one of the upcoming segments for this week's Botchamania. Fightful Select are reporting that there is a lot of heat towards an anonymous leaker who has been taking to Reddit to post spoilers of AEW tapings in 2020 last year. The person responsible was initially thought to be former NXT superstar Tino Sabatelli, however this is no longer thought to be the case. The leaks continued after his departure from the company, and it is now thought that the person is not a wrestler. The talent roster knew about Brody Lee's situation prior to his death, and this information was not leaked. This has led to many suspecting that it is somebody outside of the locker room. Talent are said to have been trusted with the identity of last night's surprise appearance, which ended up being Christian Cage, and this information was not leaked beforehand. After last night's AEW Revolution pay-per-view, multiple talents took part in a media call. One of those names was Paul White, who discussed his departure from WWE. The former Big Show spoke of Vince McMahon's reaction to White's signing with the competition, and it may be a surprise to many of you. Paul White told the press, "Vince actually called me the day that it was announced that I signed with AEW, wished me a lot of luck, agreed that I'm a huge asset at AEW, and thanked me for all the years that I worked in WWE. There's no animosity, there's no anger, there's no dirt, so to speak. It just came down to contract negotiations and opportunities. Let's face it, over 20 years at WWE, I have done everything there is to do. I needed a fresh start. For me, I think Vince understands that, and understands that for me as a talent, this was an opportunity to do that." Believe me, leaving WWE was a little bit scary because I had so much tenure there and so much experience and had basically already paid every due that I needed to pay in WWE. To leave that stock and to put a lot of faith in yourself and say, hey, if you're really passionate about this and you want to do this, then you have to put your big boy pants on and give it a shot. I'm very grateful and very thankful that it all worked out. Paul White will be a commentator for AEW on the upcoming Dark Elevation show, which will begin next Monday on March 15th. And if you're enjoying the video so far, why not help me out and drop a like down below, and also subscribe as we try to reach 10,000 subscribers. But let's get back to the news. During the announcement of his signing, it was also confirmed that there were plans for him to step back in the ring at some point, but there has been no sign of this on TV as of yet. You can almost guarantee that he'll find himself in the ring with Shaq, with the two having plans scrapped various times for matches in WWE. And before we get to our final story, speaking of Paul White, AEW have filed an interesting trademark to say the least. They have filed for the term Captain Insano for use in video games and digital media. Captain Insano was the name of a character Paul White played in the movie The Waterboy in 1998. In the movie, White played the part of a wrestler in a scene alongside Adam Sandler. It looks like we have the answer for one of the unlockable attires for White in the upcoming AEW video game, which is said to be targeted for release in early 2022. Have you seen the movie Waterboy? No, me neither. In the build-up for the grand reveal at AEW Revolution, many names were suspected as the major signing, and one of those names was Dave Batista. Batista retired from professional wrestling in April 2019 after his loss to Triple H at WrestleMania 35. Dave has gone on to become one of the biggest names in Hollywood following his roles in the Avengers series as Drax the Destroyer. Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer has confirmed that there has in fact been talks between AEW and Batista about a potential appearance somewhere down the line. It is unclear as to if these discussions were recent or not, but the signing of Batista would be a huge coup for AEW should he ever end up there. He has been openly critical about the modern WWE product, so signing with the competition could make a real statement. He is a former two-time WWE champion, four-time World Heavyweight champion, and four-time Tag Team champion. He of course also won the Royal Rumble twice, once in 2005 and in 2014, and was scheduled to be inducted into the 2020 class of the Hall of Fame before the pandemic struck. Following speculation that Batista was the mystery signing for this week's pay-per-view, Batista took to Twitter to reiterate his retirement and ruled out a return to the ring. It will be interesting to see how this story develops going forward, and would you be interested in seeing Dave Batista become All Elite? And who would be your Batista dream match in AEW? I think it would be interesting if he went up against Wardlow.